Well, how y'all are this afternoon? This is your buddy George Jones over here at the Bergen Gun Range with my next installment on. I've been to the gun show and bought a bunch of old creepy ammo. That's what it comes down to. I've been doing a lot of experimentation, a lot of videoing, a lot of demonstration with the shotgun. Hand-rolled deer slugs, mini shells, things of that nature. So I went out and bought some American Specialty Ammo. Oh, I think it's 18 Flechetts. Flechett. Now, what's a Flechett? Well, a Flechett is a little steel dart, about the size of a finishing nail with some wings bradded on the back of it. Now, the Flechett is a round that the military came up with in World War II for use in the Pacific, and they continued to use Flechett rounds all the way through Vietnam. Now, in a 12 gauge, we're going to find out just how effective a Flechett round can be at, say, 15 yards as an anti-personnel load. Typically, a Flechett is found in a 175 millimeter cannon shell, or 155 millimeter stubby in the turret of a CEV. That's a combat engineer vehicle, which is a tank that's set up for combat engineers to use. And canister rounds for main guns on tanks and that sort of thing. Whether or not, I know that the self-propelled motor gun carrier M8 from World War II, which is basically a Stewart tank with an open top turret and a 75 millimeter pack howitzer mounted on it, they had canister rounds of both ball bearings, BBs, and Flechett. So anti-personnel, anti-material, anti-foliage, that's the purpose of the Flechett load. Now, whether or not a Flechett load will work in a shotgun as a defensive round, we're fixing to find out. I've got 3 of these, and I'm going to shoot one of them at a B-21 police silhouette target and see if the Flechetts actually get down there, whether or not they penetrate the wood, whether or not they actually have any legitimate use. We'll try and explore that a little bit. The temperature in Kentucky went from 55 to 85 like the state troopers went on strike. All right, let's give it a try. I don't know how loud it's going to be. I don't know what kind of powder it's loaded with. I don't know if it has any felt recoil or what the deal is. We're going to combat load 1. And I'm going to cut down at the middle of that silhouette target down there and see what happens when we're going to go look at it. Well, that had quite a bit of recoil. That had quite a bit of recoilness. That had quite a bit of recoilitation. Okay, let's go down there and see what a Flechett round does to a paper target on a plywood stand. Here we go. Well, that's interesting. Looks like maybe this one keyhole, but they've got a little wing on the back of them, so it looks like they all pretty much keyholed in some form or another. I don't feel any of them sticking in there. There's the wad hole. They've all got a little elongated cut in the paper. So it looks like it hit it and was kind of going sideways. Let's see what happened back here. Well, you can't really tell because we've shot it so much, you know. But I don't know how many was in there, but there's a hole, and there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's something. That looks like a dart hole, that looks like a dart hole, so it actually hit it. I would say that on a human being that would probably do quite a bit of damage of some kind. And down here where the wood backer is pretty solid, they went all the way through. So, and this material is ½ inch or so. So, would it work as a defensive round? Your guess is as good as mine, but it does shoot. Would you use it as a defensive round? You know, in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, you've got to be able to go to a coroner's inquest and sit there and justify your use of force in that assailant's death. No matter how bad of a guy he was, you still have to be able to have something to hang your hat on. You know, my position is that if it warrants shooting a person for defensive purposes, it doesn't matter what you shoot him with, okay, or how many times you shoot him. Okay, once that initial aggression begins, you know, and escalates to the point where using deadly physical force would be reasonable and necessary, I don't think there's any problem with what you fired at him. Hollow point bullet, full metal jacket, armor piercing, tracer bullet, you know, Flechett, square shot, Malaysia load, you know, double alt buck, triple alt buck, bird shot, whatever. Once you've gotten to the point that you can use deadly physical force to defend yourself, I don't think there's an issue. Now, my situation would be, I would want to have the round with the known effect. I know 110 grain 357 Magnum at 1700 feet per second is an effective man-stopping round. Okay, I know that a mini shell loaded with 6 pellets of double alt buck at 12 or 14 feet is very effective. I don't know that a Flechett round manufactured in somebody's basement and sold at the gun show would be an effective round for this purpose. Okay. So I'm saying the old Flechett round is actually more of a novelty item than an actual practical thing. So now what we're going to do is cut this thing apart and actually look and see what it looks like on the inside. At $3 a shell, I'm going to cut this apart. It's the reason why I got a Patreon account. You know, cut this guy apart and see what it actually looks like internally. So we've got a rolled in crimp that doesn't look like it's rolled in very well to begin with. We've got a simple cardboard wad, okay, which is this little simple cardboard wad. It appears that we have some kind of overshot wad, plastic segmented, and then we've got that. We've got that. Now there was about 14 cuts in that paper, so let's see how many Flechetts we've got. Let's see. Oh, there's quite a bit more than 14 here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 23, 26, 29, looks like 31. So we had about 14 cuts in that paper that looked like maybe it was a Flechett penetration, and probably 3 times that number in the shell. So 3 times the number in the shell bypassed that target completely and went somewhere, and will probably wind up in my lawnmower tire in the spring. To tell you the truth. I would definitely, that little guy would definitely create a problem for a lawnmower. So, close range, you know, I don't know. Like, in all fairness, you know, they sell these things at the gun show and they make a kind of a big deal out of it. When it comes right down to it, it doesn't appear to me to be a very effective round to use. So, you know, the darts don't fly straight. They just probably come out of there just rolling end over end and like that. So I'm saying the old Flechett shotgun shell as an effective defensive round of ammunition is probably not going to be very effective. Some of them look like they penetrated the target backer, which is particle board, approximately 1/2 inch. So that would go in a person deep enough to actually do something. But there's no data on the actual effect. You know, the FBI publishes data on double-aught buck, but they don't publish data on Flechett shotgun shells or dragon's breath. So I'm saying it's probably a no. Well, anyway, we're going to move on. I'm going to do the next video on something else. Like to take share, pie, commentate, and subscribe. Leave me an old $1 in the Patreon bucket if you don't want to, or if you want to, and if you don't want to, well, that's fine. I'll keep making content for you. That's about the size of it. I'll see y'all when I see you. Have a good day.